Okay. And I will share my screen. And there we are.
Double click to enter full screen mode. Okay.
Can you see your image?
I can. Yep.
Okay. By the way, here's a little trick in Photoshop. I may have mentioned it before, I'm not sure, but look down here in the lower left-hand corner. See where,
Oh, yeah.
see where it says 100%?
Yeah.
All you have to do is highlight that or type in that area. And you can make it as large to fill the screen. So let's take 138. I'm just going to guess here. Okay. So that filled it pretty well. So you have to type in the percent that you want and then hit enter. And then it'll enlarge it for you or reduce it or whatever. They're also
Did that cut off anything? I can't really tell.
a little bit, yeah. So I'll show you how you can use the content aware fill tools. And it should work pretty well with this image. We'll give it a try here and see what we get. So the way I'm going to do it, there's two ways to do it. So I'm going to show you both ways. So the first way is to take this selection tool, the polygon lasso, and then I'm going to just draw inside. See, I've left some space. You don't have to make it perfect, but don't go into the white at all. Just go over here and then go outside of the image. And you can't see it, but it selected that whole corner.
Okay, now before you go any further, I
Yep.
want to hear what your strategy is before you do it. What is your intent here with the tool?
So I'm going to let Photoshop decide what the content aware that it's going to fill up, how it's going to do it. And like I said, there's two ways. So this way, I'm going to let Photoshop decide.
Okay,
And so now I need to go to Edit, Fill.
oh, that's what I'm missing. I tried to do some of that. Okay, I get it now.
Also a content aware fill down here, but I'll show you that next. But for this, I think the best solution is going to be this one, but we'll see what we get.
That's fill. Oh, content, yeah, okay.
And so if you go up here, it'll give you all these different choices, but you just have to make sure you've chosen content aware. And color adaptation is clicked. So it's gonna make the decision on brightness and everything else. And it's gonna try to match these colors in here.
And that's the reason you use the polygonal tool to go into outside the white area, but inside the cactus part.
Yes.
So it'll have some source information.
Yeah, it's gonna look all around there anyway by itself, but
Oh, okay.
this gives it a more accurate selection area.
Okay.
So, all right, so I'm just gonna say okay, and let's see what it does automatically.
Okay.
Not bad.
Now, okay. So you went through a really fast question that I was going to ask you. How do you end an action? I had that frustration in the past, but I noticed now you reminded me, just click on the marquee tool and
Yep.
that ends the action.
Ends the selection, yeah.
Okay, good.
So I'm
when
gonna do the top, both of the top selections in the same way that in the same way I just did. We're gonna do this one the same way. And the two bottom ones will do the opposite way, the other way you can do it. And we'll see what we like here.
So you go to the polygonal tool, okay,
Yeah,
and then draw that line. Okay. And now you go to up in the option bar, edit. Okay.
edit, fill,
Mhm,
and just make sure content aware is still
mhm.
chosen. And let's see what it does.
Perfect. Yeah, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. So it did pretty well. All right, now we're going to try something different. So down here, I am going to do that selection. Again with a polygon, but this time I'm going to do file.
File, you mean edit?
I'm
File?
sorry, edit,
Okay.
content aware fill. And then it's going to say, use the sampling brush to add sampling areas. So here's the sampling brush up. I'll say, okay. Up in the left, you see that brush?
Yeah.
I clicked on it. And so I'm going to use some areas that I wanted to sample. I want to sample that and that. And you can make that tool smaller, by the way. So those are all the areas I'm sampling in order for it to fill that area.
Okay.
And
Oh, I'm noticing as you're speaking that there's that preview pane on the right. I see that.
yes,
But I didn't know how to make that appear. How did you get that to show up, the preview?
it just started filling in once I started clicking with the brush tool.
Okay.
And so it filled all that in. And you can see that the other side should have, well, that's a size, sorry. You can't see the other side, the other corner, but the other corner is probably still blank the way it should be. So
Okay, now, at this point, I see you clicking OK, but why wouldn't you go, oh, you go to the marquee tool only when you want to deselect?
right, and it's still selected because it hasn't actually filled it in. It's just showing you a preview of, this is what I think it's going to look like.
I get it.
So now I have to apply it. And then I have to say, okay. And then we can do the marquee tool again and look at it. Now, I don't really like it because look what it's done. It's made these checkerboard.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why it decided to do that, but it's a little chunky through here. Now
Yeah.
it could look almost like someone's footsteps
Yeah.
in there, and it might be generally okay, but
So comparing this one to the other one, can we go back in history or layers or somehow and look back at what you did using the other tool?
yeah. So here's what we'll do is if you noticed that second time, it put it on a separate layer.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. It did it automatically?
It does it automatically. And that's another thing that makes it more complicated because you have to merge these. You have to remember to merge these in order to make it flow nicely. So what I'm going to do though, all I'm going to do is I'm going to do Control Z
Okay,
and Control Z again.
okay,
And now it's like we didn't use that tool.
good.
And now I'm going to go back up and I'm going to do edit, fill, and content aware,
Yeah,
and okay. And let's see what this does. That actually looks better to me.
yep, I agree with you. And that's a whole lot easier, Eric.
It is.
There may be some other subtle reasons you may want to do it the other way, but for me, that's a great way to do it. Okay.
Yeah, it's simpler and there's no layers involved. You just get it done. All right, let's see what this last one will do.
So we're all working on one layer that you've got selected there called the background.
Yeah, that's
So
just
you-
your original image. I
You
didn't
didn't make a
duplicate it.
copy?
I didn't copy it in this case, but you should, yes. Okay, so I'm going to try and do it the second way, the more complicated way, content aware fill. And it's going to say, okay, choose an area that you want to use. And I'll need to move that a little bit so I can do that. So I'm going to choose with this brush tool, I'm going to choose this dark area in here, or to use that area to fill it. And I'm going to say apply, and I'm going to say okay. And then I'm going to hit the marquee tool and click off of it. Yeah, that didn't quite work well enough either, because it gave me these two spines here of the cactus. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can. And I'm not sure that I would ever want to do it that way. I thought you're getting a better result using the content aware.
Right,
fill.
right. But you're actually, in this case, you don't. So I'm going to back up again.
You're doing Control Z on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Command Z for you.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm going to do, let's see what happens here if I do that. I don't know if we'll get any spine in there or not. We could clone one if we need to. So file or edit, fill, content aware. Actually did just fine. It used the texture in here.
Yeah, I think it looked better. Yeah.
Now, let's say we wanted to be a little more accurate, because there's a lot of spines that are going down here, and there's these stacked up here. So what I would do is I would put a little bit of a feather on my polygon selection. So I'm going to put 3 pixels on there. And then I'm going to choose this spine right here. And I'm going to carefully not choose the one above it or too much extraneous material.
Okay, now what's your intent here before you go on?
So my intent is that I'm going to duplicate this and put it down here
Okay, good.
so it fills in that spot.
Okay,
So I've got it selected. I'm going to right click it, and I'm going to layer via copy.
okay.
So I'm just making a copy of it. And now I have to go to my move tool.
Where is it? I don't see it.
That's
Copy.
because it's right on top of the old one, so you can't see it yet. Now I have to move it so you can see it. So I hit the move tool. And there it is. Now it's a little bit blotchy.
Can you stop a minute?
Sure.
Let's look over at the panel on the right, the
Yeah.
layers panel.
Yeah.
You said copy in as a layer, but I only see 2 layers. I see the background layer and the other one called layer 1.
Right.
And it looks like we're working in layer 1.
We're moving layer 1 around. So if I close layer 1,
Oh, okay.
we're back to where we were.
I see now. Yeah.
But if I open up layer 1, it copied what I had selected.
Okay. Okay. Uh-huh.
Now it's a little bit blotchy there. So I think what needs to happen is I would darken it just a little bit so that it would blend in a little bit better. So I'm going to just use brightness and contrast
But you've already, it's selected now that you're adjusting the brightness.
of that whole layer.
Oh, the whole layer.
But that whole layer is only that little tiny thing, because that was my selection.
Okay.
So if you look in the layer box, it's pretty empty. But
Yeah.
over in this little right-hand corner, there's a tiny dot there, which is this
Oh.
thing. And darken it up.
So one second, if you close the eyeball on the background level,
Yeah,
you would only see that little bitty stuff that you worked. There it is. Okay.
yeah.
Now, do you ever work on this layer and without seeing the background layer, work on this layer alone and do some adjustment to a small little, there, that one.
Sure,
Can
you could easily. Yeah, I do that when I, especially if I have something that's translucent, that's showing through.
Mhm.
I do that often, or if I'm erasing part of an image.
Okay,
So that,
generally you want to see the lower layer to see how it fits into the overall picture.
right, exactly. So there's your image. And you could replicate this again, another one just right down here, but I don't think you really need it. And you mentioned that you want to get rid of this red guy back here.
Yeah, and what I did was I used I can't remember if I used the magic wand or the quick selection tool. And then that's when I ended, because I was trying to figure out how to use content aware after I'd already selected
Right.
that area. And
Right.
my intent was, instead of cloning it, I know at various times in the past, you've suggested using the cloning tool rather than content aware. But I was gonna experiment with content aware. Can you show me if that would work, content aware? Or,
Yeah, let's see what we get. So this is soft back here, this barrel cactus.
yeah,
And so I've got a feather of 3. Let's go with a feather of about 6. And the feather just makes that edge of whatever we're selecting softer. So I'm gonna just come around the shape of that content aware. I'm also gonna take that rock out, by the way, because I think it's a little bit distracting.
okay, so now you've made the selection. I'm okay with the selection, that step.
Okay. And then I'm gonna say edit content aware fill. And we have to worry a little bit because of it's gonna take
Yeah.
everything around it to work with.
Now,
So,
one second here. There are two
okay.
choices here. One is use the content aware fill, and then the one your arrow is on, which is fill.
Yeah,
If you click fill, one of the options will be content aware fill.
yeah,
Yeah, so does it matter? Does the result matter? Whichever way you choose it?
it does, because remember, if you use content aware fill, the other one, it's gonna make a layer, and it's also going to ask you to choose areas to.
Yeah, that's where I got, okay,
So let's just say, okay, this is just the fill one.
let's do that, just as a starting, okay. That didn't come out very good, did it?
Yeah, well, what it did was it used some of these spines here.
Yeah, but it looks blurry. I mean, you can see the edge of it.
Yeah, it is a little blurry looking. So let's go back. And let's reduce our feather this time. So I need to actually click off of this and remake it. And I'm gonna make it with a 2.
What did it start with before you started changing the feather? What was the default feather?
The feather that I chose before was 6.
Okay,
Now, part of why it might be a little bit soft is it's choosing, because I'm getting rid of this rock, and maybe what I need to do is get rid of them individually. But let's try it again. So that's a feather of 2. Edit, fill, content aware.
that's a little bit, no, it's still not.
Yeah. So that's where I would normally gravitate to just using clone, because I
see.
know I'm going to get the same resolution, everything else. But
Yeah, I can see why you would do that.
yeah, let's try it with the other tool just so we.
I mean, just as an operational thing, in what I've been doing when I'm done with this, don't like it, I want to do something different. I go up to the history panel and I click back in history. But is it doing the same thing as Control Z?
Yep,
Okay.
exactly the same thing.
All right, so now you've selected what you want to change.
Now I'm going to use the content aware fill this time. This may, well, we'll see what it does. It may work better because I'm going to tell it where to use things, right? I'm using the brush tool. I'm going to say, use this area. And I'm going to say, use that area. And I'm going to say, use that area.
You're selecting areas to fill the selected area,
Yes.
but it's not cloning as you have done before.
No, it's making it, it's all artificial intelligence. It's making decisions on what these surfaces look like in order to go there. And it's probably areas similar that I would use when I clone, but let's see.
Wait a minute, 1 second. I noticed, I
Go ahead.
I noticed that the green source on the right
Yep.
is clipping some of the spines in that section of the cactus.
Yeah, all it's doing is that's a selection area. It's not cutting them off. It's just going to use them to duplicate onto the new area.
Okay,
So let's say okay and see what it does. Nope.
ooh,
So that's not the ticket. So cloning is definitely the way to go. So I'm going to Control Z to back out of here. And now I'm going to go to my clone tool, the rubber stamp tool over here. And just make sure it's on clone. And that way I'm going to pick up some of this. See, that's a little bit of a tiny valley there, or a little bit of a hill there or something.
I don't see what the tool is that you're moving around. I see.
Right here, the one that's highlighted,
Oh, yeah,
that's the clone tool.
yeah.
So I'm going to come way over here. Well,
You know what, Eric, I can't see
you
where the
can't see
clone
the
tool.
tool.
Yeah, I can't see it on the image.
That's because it's hard to see. Can you see it now? You can see it on the cactus below the flower.
I see the selection area, the red and rock. I don't
Yeah,
know if you-
but below that on the white of the,
Oh, there it is. I see it now. Yep. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay. So but it's a skinny little black line, so it's hard for you to see.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah.
Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and choose area just to the left of that bloom that's trying to come out of that cactus. And you're not going to be able to see it probably, but well, maybe if I enlarge it, let's see. Can you see it now?
No. It's
No.
it's an awful busy image, isn't it? Sorry. No, I can't see it.
All right.
But you can see it easily on your screen?
Well, I can see it not easily because it's got a super skinny line,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
let's, oh, there you go. If I use
see it.
the target,
Yeah, I see the target.
all right. So that's my selection area. So I have the target and then I click. And now that's going to give me, see, there's changing
Yeah.
the pattern.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to use that. And I'm going to fill this in. Oh, now here's something that happens in Photoshop. Look at the top up here, the very
Yeah.
top bar, the opacity.
Yeah.
It's 49%. So that's what I was using recently. I was using something that's 49%, but we want 100%. So I got to come back and choose my target again.
You just did Control Z again to back up a step?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And then I'm going to fill this in. And I'm going to fill in down here. And then I'm going to make my selection tool a lot smaller. And I'm going to come in like maybe in here.
How did you get that target to start?
You have to hit the Alter command, Alter Option key,
Okay,
and that'll show you the target.
that looks like it.
And then you have to click in order to get it to be
Okay.
where you want it. Now you can see there's still some edging.
Yeah, but boy, that's really good.
Yeah, so we can fix that edging, and the way we fix it, we go back to our clone tool and we change our opacity to say 46%. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna
Yeah, that's much better. Yeah,
hit the edge.
so having less opacity means the selection area is going to be not opaque. That means that what you're changing is going to be more evident. What's seen below that won't come through.
Right.
Okay, that's a wonderful change. That's very good.
Now, do you want some of these little spines to come up from the cactus, or it's fine the way it is?
Oh, you know what I'm looking at now? On that barrel cactus we were just working on,
Yeah,
to the left of it, it's cut, yeah, right, yeah, right. Well, just up a little bit from where you. It looks unnaturally cut
that
off.
looks
Yeah,
like an edge there to you. I didn't do anything to that part, but let's just clone it a little bit, and
okay,
there you go.
yeah. Yeah,
Now, one other thing I noticed, and it's going to be a little trickier, is that there's another blossom that's laying here, and I think that's very distracting.
I didn't even notice it before now. Yeah,
So I would get rid of that one altogether. And that's going to be a little trickier, but we can learn something here. So remember our selection tool, which is a quick selection tool.
yeah, yes.
Okay, and I'm going to go with a pretty small brush size, like 14, yeah. Because what I want to do is I want to select where these leaves run into it.
Yeah.
I want to select those leaves.
Oh, so you're selecting those, not,
Yeah, because I'm going to do an inverse.
oh,
And then I'm using the minus tool. I'm clicking the Alt. So when the selection tool, the quick selection tool, when you click, it automatically adds anything to your selection. If you hit the Alt key, it will delete from your selection.
I noticed that the options bar there, it's got the plus or minus. That's easier for me.
Yes,
Okay, I get it. So now you're subtracting a little.
yeah. And there's a little bit over here I want to subtract.
Okay. So
Okay.
now what you've done is, okay,
I've made a selection of those two things because they overlap with this blossom or whatever this is. Now I'm going to do is I'm going to select the inverse of those. And now I can come in and clone or do whatever I want to this thing. So let's see. I would probably take my clone tool, and I'm going to remember to bring the opacity to 100%. And that's a little large for what I want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat these patterns, these spines, and I'm going to cover up the bottom of this stem. And then I'm going to take some of the dirt and cover this thing up. And let's see if we can make it look a little better. Got to do Control Z because I duplicated. So what it's going to do is it's going to, can you see the circle now?
yeah, yes,
So that's the area of my target. But since I have it on a fairly soft setting, the hardness is down to 0. It actually is going to select a broader area than you can see. So I need to bring the hardness up a little. And I'm gonna bring my size down a little. And now I should be able to get a cleaner look at this. And I think I'll take this guy. I'll put him in here. Now, can you see that there's some green around this red petal?
Yeah, the boy, it's inconspicuous to me.
Yeah, it's not very important, but I think I'll come back and clean that up in a minute. All right, now I'm going to choose some of this dirt that's already in the shadow area.
You're right about how that clone tool, how useful that is.
Oh, yeah, it's a great thing. And you notice I'm not going to hurt my pedal because it's,
You protected it.
yeah, it's not selected. Just the other area is selected. Now, do you see the plus symbol to the left?
Yeah, that's the source, right?
That's the source. So I have to be careful that I don't run that source on top of the pedal
Anything. Yeah,
or any area that I don't want. Like I
right.
just got that light area, which I probably don't want because this is all in shadow. And I've got a little too much of that blue pattern is too consistent. So I'll take some of that out.
I don't know what those little blue dots are.
It looks like it's little pieces of sand or something that are in there. It's definitely part of the image.
Oops, wait a minute. What happened there?
So I went too high and
Yeah.
it picked up part of this thing and duplicated it there.
Did you do Control Z to reverse that?
Yep,
Okay, okay.
yep. Control Z is your friend.
Yeah,
All right. Let's see what we got. Oh, yeah. Looks a lot better.
yeah. Now, let me ask you your opinion about well, first of all, what's the next step when you want to say, I'm done, I'm finished, let's go on to the next thing? You put your cursor up on that marquee tool again?
Yep, because we want to deselect everything.
Okay, so you click the marquee tool, then you click somewhere else on the image and that did it.
You have to click anywhere else, you just save it, but we need to do one more thing. Can you see that dot on that flower down there?
I do.
We need to get rid of that. That's a little distracting. And you know that you couldn't do all these things and submit it in like a nature category. You'd have to, this can only go into a color pictorial because of all the changes we made.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Now you did the clone again on that?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
okay.
I just cloned one
Yeah.
area and got rid of it. You could do a content aware tool too. And what's on this pedal down here? Can you see that shape on there?
Yeah,
I don't know what that is. Maybe
that's
just
pretty subtle.
yeah, it's a little reflection maybe. So I'm just going to take it though.
Now, what are you doing again? Again, you're using the clone tool? for this?
Yeah, I just took a clone tool and I took apart, my target was right here.
Okay,
And then I just moved down there and
I would say your clone tool is your go-to tool.
I use it a lot. And you know what? Partially that's because I'm an old user of Photoshop. I've used it for so long that there weren't there was no such thing as content aware fill. And there was no such thing as a lot of these tools that we have now.
Yeah,
So I'm used to just grabbing it and using it.
you
So,
certainly get an excellent result.
yeah,
Right now, the next question I wanted to ask is composition.
yes.
It doesn't look right to me.
Mhm.
And one of my first questions was, does transforming it have any use? I was just going to experiment with a little bit to see. That upper left part of that barrel cactus up there is takes up too much of the picture,
Yeah, too dominant.
too dominant. And I really like the white flowers and the green cactus between them.
Yep.
And I'm not even sure the stuff on the right contributes much, even though I like the look of the cactus. I'm not sure in terms of the composition that adds much. I might be tempted to clone that out or crop that out even.
Yeah, so here's a good trick for that. Let's use the rule of thirds. So in Photoshop, I can make myself a little guide.
Yeah, I
And
forgot how you do that. You put your cursor on the ruler and just drag it out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so I am guessing where my thirds are.
How did you make a second line?
I just went over and grabbed and clicked here
Oh, got
again
a second.
and pulled it over.
Okay.
All right, so that's roughly a rule of thirds vertically anyway. And so what I would do is, in order to center this in the rule of thirds, we could crop it a little.
Where's the crop tool?
Well, I'm going to use my marquee tool,
Oh, okay. Mhm.
but we could use a crop tool as well.
Where's that located?
That's hiding. Those are all my tools.
Yeah,
Here it is, crop tool.
okay. All right.
And let's play with this a little bit. We can get rid of some of that,
Okay.
and that creates a little less dominance of that. But I need to come down. I feel like I need to come down a little bit. And now my rule of thirds is going to shift, right? I can always go back, by the way, but so now my rule of thirds is about like that. So in the first third, down here, we've got the flower. So that works a little better with the rule of thirds. And these are centered. And then you've got this area, which is a little less clear about how to make it work. Let's see. You mind if I just play with a couple things here?
Of course not. I'm eager, as long as you talk to me and tell me what it is you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm gonna just see if I can, I'm gonna get rid of the barrel cactus on that side because we've got this guy down here that's nice and bright green.
Mhm.
Now it's gonna square us up a lot. So when we square up, it's important that this distance from the left side to the flower and the distance to the right side to the flower is about the same.
Mhm.
We're still got our flower in the rule of thirds, but the image itself has to be very balanced when it looks square like this.
Do you see it in the end as a square picture?
Squarer. It's still rectangular, but it's just a little more square now. Let's see what we got. Yeah, this thing is a bit dominant back there, that's for sure.
I was thinking about just blurring it a lot. Or would that not, that would look funny?
No, it wouldn't look funny. Well, let's try it. We have some time. So I'm gonna do a soft selection in that area. I'm gonna do about 5, feather of 5 with my polygon lasso tool. And then I'm gonna come up, actually, you know what? I'm gonna see if we can do this with the quick selection tool. Go away. Let's see if it'll allow us to select that reasonably well. Yeah, it's doing pretty well. Now, with something that's as complex as this flower, I would suggest that you definitely go slowly in your selection.
Yeah,
So give it time to think and predict what you want to do. That's not bad. So do you know anything about the blurs in Photoshop?
yeah, but I can't say, there's a pencil sharp, I think it's that triangular thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a sharpen and a blur tool. That's the sharpen tool. And then there's behind it, there's a blur tool.
right, yeah,
But that's not going to do it. What we have to do is we have to come up to filter and blur,
okay,
and then it's going to give you all these different kinds of blurs.
right,
But we want what's called a Gaussian blur.
right.
Now that's way too much, right? Can you see what it's done to it?
Yeah,
And so that's 9.4. So I'm going to go with 4.
where are you? I don't see where you are right now.
Oh, to the right, do you see that Gaussian blur box?
Oh, there, yeah.
So I've designated how many.
Now let's stop for a second. You think that's too much?
Well, it was 9.5 before.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, yes, you're right.
So I'm going to go down to 4. And let's see what that looks like when I.
That's
come
good
up.
because as I see it now, it matches the blur of that barrel cactus on the right side that we were working on before. That
Yeah, it's
degree of blur
a
is
little
similar.
better. It's still a little distracting back there. And I would clone it out. And how I would do that is I would use this area up here,
As your source, yeah.
and I would follow that up to about this much of it. And then I would use this and fill in the little parts around here.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan. So
Okay.
let me just, again, it's always the littlest things. You're working on the background layer. You haven't created any new layers at all.
No,
And when you're done with this, all the work you've done is visible only on the layer we're working on, layer 1.
correct.
Okay,
All right. So actually, it's the background layer that we're working on. We're not working on layer 1.
oh, okay.
Sorry. So let's go ahead and clone this. And I'm going to use a pretty big brush. And I'm going to bring the hardness up to around 30, although it's soft already. So it'll stay whatever this is. And I'm going to use this.
Where's your source? I'm looking. There it is, okay.
Yep. And I'm going to just move it in that same angle.
Now, the source that you chose isn't where I would have chosen the source. The source I would have used for the upper part would be at the same level, upper, and not the lower. But I see what you've done now. You've got that angle, that line like Stratford.
Yes, I'm following this angle.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to continue with that.
Oops.
That's okay. I'll pick it up when I do some other areas. All right, now I'm going to use a smaller brush. And I'm going to come down here.
I don't see it. There it is. Okay. Keeping your eye on the source.
Yep, exactly. And I ended up cloning a little bit of a petal, but that's okay. And whoops, I hit the wrong key, sorry.
Now, let me stop you for 1 second at this point.
Okay.
Can you, now that you've cloned some, can you move your source target to area you've just cloned?
Yep,
Okay,
and that's what I was just going to do.
okay.
So I'm going to hit Alt. I'm going to make it even smaller, my brush. Now I'm going to hit Alt, and I'm going to get rid of that little piece of petal. And I'm going to continue this up into here and get rid of some of that. So it looks like almost like there's a little bit of a hillside here and a little bit of a rise where this darker material is. So I'm going to go ahead and clone the darker material.
Why aren't you going straight up?
Because I don't have enough material here. I can do it now that I've got all this distance,
Yeah,
but I only had a short distance. So
I see. Okay.
now I'm going to come up and I'll go up all the way. Also, I have to avoid hitting these petals.
Right.
So I'm going to come out here and build myself a little background to use. And I can duplicate some more of this,
Yeah.
a little like a shelf or whatever that is. I'm going to come over here and get some of this material.
I had my eye on the source there as it was moving.
Because I'm starting to get, see this elliptical repeating pattern there? Let me come back to my source here.
Why do you make the source so far away? Why don't you use your source there?
Because it's starting to repeat itself. See these little round shapes?
Oh, yeah, I
There's
see.
too many of those, and that's not really what the landscape looks like. There was one over here, but I ended up replicating it many times over. So I'm trying to get rid of that. The other thing, you really have to, when you're using a clone tool, you have to watch out for repeating patterns so that you don't have too many things that look like it was cloned.
Yeah, right.
With these small pebbles and things, that's okay. But the larger pieces create these circular shapes for some reason. And you don't want that. Okay. That's generally okay. And now your barrel cactus is gone. We do have to go back and fix this green thing up here, whatever that is.
Same thing, clone tool.
Yep. So I'm gonna just take the clone tool. I did the quick selection tool. And then I'm just gonna take this and bring it up at an angle and use that material to fill it in. Now it may have an edge on it, and it does. So that's where the clone tool and not 100%. I'll come in it in the 40s.
Oops.
Yeah, I was just using where I was last to use it as an approximation. And that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I like kept the angles.
Yeah, it
That-
gives some interest and it moves you down into the subject.
Looks
as
very
well.
nice. Now, do you think someone's gonna think that we need something in that spot? We didn't need as much as we had, that was distracting. But would it look better if you could fill it with something, maybe another flower, I don't know. Or maybe another part of one of these green cacti, just set up in, oh, you can't see my arrow, but
Yeah,
maybe
No,
a
you
little
can-
bit, yeah, a little of that green up in the corner where we just removed that big one.
yeah, I would put him like right back here
Yeah,
behind the other flower,
yes,
which we can do that. We'll take our quick selection tool. And we're gonna select in here.
one sec, I see. Now you're gonna do the inverse at this point with this?
Yep. I don't have to be perfect on this because I'm doing the inverse, so. Okay, so I'm going to select the inverse, and this green cactus right here is inside of that inverse. And so is this one down here. But I think this angle on this one would probably work best.
Hang on, which one? The
The
middle
one in the middle, yeah. So,
So let me think of what you've done now. You've selected one flower,
yep.
but not the other flower.
Right. Because all I'm going to do is try to take this area and clone it back here. And I might make it a little lower. So let's see what happens. I'm going to start over here.
What are you missing? I'm missing your source.
Yeah.
Let me understand the strategy here. You've selected the inverse, which means that the cactus is selected. Or
Right.
can be selected. How do you select that cactus that you want to copy?
I'm going to have to just clone it using my source tool.
Oh, okay.
So here's my source tool. I'm just going to have to take a section of it at a time. And I'm going to put it right back here. And because this is outside of the selection area, it won't put anything in there where it won't cover up the flower.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got it
Okay.
there.
Okay.
And I'm going to go
I'm
up.
not seeing any action, any result.
Yeah, because I have my opacity down from when I was cloning the rock area before. So I'm bringing it back the opacity back up, and my source is going to be right here. And then I'm going to come over here. And now I've got a second little cactus there. Would you want it up higher than that?
Yeah, I think I'd want it up a little higher.
Okay,
Now, what did you just do? Control Z again to
yeah,
get rid of all those steps? Okay, so
yep,
now you're gonna clone, do the same thing, but put it up a little higher?
yep. How high? This high?
Yeah. But couldn't you have taken what you just done and select it and move it up?
No, because it's cloned into the background.
Okay.
Now I'm going to have to clone these individual sections to make it deeper because we don't have that much depth here. But we can do that.
Okay, so you're cloning stuff that's been cloned.
Yep.
No, well, that's okay. I understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Well, you're being, yeah. Well, I think that added more interest, don't you?
Yeah. We just got to figure out how to get it to,
I overdo my thinking about balance. I like balance.
yeah,
If I overdo that concept.
that's one of those natural human traits for balance.
Mhm.
Now I'm cloning a piece of petal here that I don't want, but I'll come back and fix that in a minute. I'm going to take a small brush and I'm going to come back here. And get rid of that and get rid of that. And I'm adding a little green to the base of that one. And no one's going to know any different.
Yeah,
Now this one that's blurred in the background almost looks like it shouldn't be there. It's a
Oh.
bit of, it's blurred, but it's still a distraction. Do you see
Yeah.
that one to the
I
right?
do. Yeah, so you wanna clone that out.
Yeah, I would clone that out too.
That sure does work fast.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, that's great right there. So now I'm seeing, can you get rid of those lines, those vertical lines? Just drag them, is that?
Yeah, you just click on them. You have to be on the move tool
Oh, okay,
and then you drag it.
okay. So let me look at that for, think about that. There's an interesting line, that diagonal line, the green cactus and the plants and the white ones look, I like that.
Yeah, well, we've even solved several issues. We've got the rule of threes now too. That we've got 3 flowers and 3 cacti. This area in the lower left is too bright. I would darken that. I would
How about
close.
I would have been tempted to use a vignette, a light vignette.
Oh, yeah, sure. Do you use a vignette through
I
Camera
use it in
Raw?
Lightroom. I use it in Lightroom, so I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's in Camera Raw in Photoshop. So you just go to Filter, Camera Raw filter. And I haven't opened it up for a while, so it's going to take a second to open up. Yeah, actually, a vignette would be the perfect addition to this.
Because it'll darken all corners.
Yeah. Wow, that's taken a while. It's probably because I updated my Photoshop to the latest version just on
The
Friday.
latest aren't always the best, are they?
Yeah, once they do that, then Photoshop has to think it through everything again. And then come down to effects. And then I tend to use darker than a lot of people would, but that's just me. That's probably where I would put it. Do you want more or less or?
No, I think that's good. But now what the consequence of that is that hill in the back looks like it could be darkened.
Yeah, so the vignetting will just do whatever's in the image. So
Corners, yeah.
yeah, so now we'll need to go in and do a dodge and burn.
Oh, yeah.
So use the burn tool and go up to a very large version of it. And we're going to do it's set on midtones, if you can see up here.
Yeah.
And exposure is 21%. That may be too dark. That may not be dark enough. Looks like it's okay. And then you just click and drag over what you want darkened.
I don't see what you're doing there. I'm missing this.
It's darkening the hill behind there.
It looks like it's also darkening some of that. No, that's okay.
Let's see.
I don't think that did a good job. Now it made it enhanced.
Now you can go backwards. You can go the other way too. You can redo.
That's too much. Are you looking? You're doing the vignette now.
Well, I just redid. That was the vignette that we originally did.
Yeah.
And then redo the burn tool and redo the burn tool. And that puts it back to where it was a minute ago. Or we could just get rid of it and you want a less of a vignette?
Yeah, I think less of a vignette. I still would like to see some of that hill less bright. Not the
Okay.
whole image, just that hill.
Yeah. So let's go back to the Camera Raw filter. Hello. It's trying to get there, I think. Yeah. I didn't restart my computer after I updated with the latest versions of Photoshop, so.
Now, are you gonna select or brush that hill once you select?
After, after we've done the vignette, then I will do a dodge and burn
Okay, when you get to doing the burn, is it a brush that you use to brush the area?
yeah, the dodge and burn, it comes in a brush version, yeah. So let's do less of a vignette like that, maybe? Is that enough?
I'm not sure I'm following you at this. Where are you?
Okay, here's a 0 vignette. And then that's too much.
Yeah. A little less. Good, I like that. Let's stop there.
Okay, so that's 11. And then just say, okay. And then this is the burn tool over here. And then I'm going to do that
Now,
corner.
I see your arrow, but I don't see a brush.
It's just a big circle. Do you see the circle?
No, I guess.
Let's see if I can make it bigger so you can see it. Because it doesn't show you a source on this because the source is the area that you're doing. And I'm going to go pretty soft on it. Can you see that circle now?
No, I can't see the circle, but
Okay.
I believe you. So you're using, you're dragging that circle over the area that you want to darken.
Yeah, so I'm darkening it. You can see the effect that it's getting darker.
Yeah, but I only, see, I wouldn't have darkened the area you just darkened. I'd like to reverse that and back up on that and leave it the way it was. And,
Okay.
and darken the part that's the brightest behind that upper, yeah. The hill looks to me too bright.
The whole hill.
Just the part that I would say is yellow,
Okay.
just a slight amount.
And you're at the left-hand side of that top flower is where you're saying now.
Yes, and then also to the right side of that flower.
Yes. Okay, so I'm darkening that a little
Okay, that's good.
and I'm darkening.
Yeah, very good. That's very good. Stop. I'm
Okay.
happy. Yeah, to me that looks right. Do you agree?
Let's try one more thing too. I'm gonna dodge, which will make a little bit lighter the edges of the flower a little bit. You can't see it, but I have a tool. I'm just dodging the edges of the flower just a tiny bit to make it contrast with the background.
So that lightened the edges.
Yeah,
Now, I know some people might have even thought about using the gradient tool uh, at an angle.
yeah. The problem with that is it's going to affect the flower too much.
Well, can't you protect the flower? You do the selection and inverse and protect the flower?
Yes, you could select it. Let's see if we can do that. It's going to be a little tricky, but let's see if we can make it happen here. So we'll do our quick selection tool. And we'll do this. Okay. The problem is, well, let's see. See if it'll discern. Nope. So what I need is, let's see if it'll let me do it. I'm going to add to this selection along this line. Okay, now I can do it because I've selected everything except for the areas that we want to darken. And then there's a gradient tool here. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do. So you didn't want to do an inverse selection on this?
I am going to do an.
Oh, you
inverse
are,
selection.
okay.
And now I'm going to draw at an angle.
Right.
Now it's going to want to fill it though. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to want to knock it out.
Can you use 2 layers? Can you just extract that flower, put it aside somewhere?
I could extract the background, just say. I
Or
could,
maybe you could do that, yeah, delete the background, move it onto another layer, put the gradient on that while it's in its own layer.
I'll
Yeah.
copy it as its own layer. So I duplicated it, but it's on top. So now we can affect it any way we want. So I can take it and image adjustments and I can,
Yeah, that's too much.
yeah, I'm just playing with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. That's pretty good right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. What do you think?
I'm just playing with the contrast a little bit. I guess it doesn't really need any. Okay. Now I still feel like this flower needs a little bit of dodging. So I'll go back to the original background and dodge that edge of that more. Oh, I've got a very low setting. Can you see how that's?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's a good, an excellent result. What is your opinion on that? The result, is there something, not to do it right now, but if you were judging this image, what would you say about it?
I would talk about the fact that it draws your eye, this high point draws your eye through the image all the way down to this third cactus here. The judge would definitely comment on the fact that it's best to have 3 images in there, and you've got the triangle shape, which they always like. And good strong colors there. Yeah.
Still, it's still a little, I don't think we should mess with it anymore, but I'm looking at that upper left-hand corner and it just looks maybe too empty. I don't know.
Up here.
Yeah, it just needs a little something up there. I don't know what. I don't want to make it too exaggerate the angle. That don't want to exaggerate that too much. All right, but yeah. All
Oh,
right.
we didn't put in the, we need to put the vignette back in. That'll lessen that.
A little bit. I wouldn't want to overdo the vignette because, yeah, let's just put a pretty light vignette on it.
Yeah. Well, we need to get rid of this lightened area here.
Yeah, right.
And then that'll put less attention to that corner, which is
Yeah.
good. So let's see what happens here.
And actually, you know what? I think that's going to be a good idea too, because as much as I like that bottom right corner, it is pretty, it competes, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah. So if you can darken that up just a little bit with the vignette. Where are you now in the vignette tool? I'm missing how you got there.
Oh, filter, camera, raw. And then this is the camera raw filter.
Okay. Mhm.
And then this looks just like Lightroom,
Yeah.
same.
Right.
And then we can bring the vignetting down a little.
That would be enough. Just, I would stop there. I think that's a good amount of vignette. I think that made it look better.
Yeah. So I would also come back and burn this area down here, the lower left, to get rid of that highlight that was there. Yeah. That's
Well done.
Hey.
Nice, nice. Thank you for doing that. That really looks nice.
Yeah, it quite a bit different than the original, that's for sure. Oh, yeah, if I had copied it, I could show the original and go back and forth, but I didn't. So,
No, you didn't. Now, so what do we do? We're stuck, huh?
well, I can save this.
How about history? Can you go back to the history? Would that bring it back?
It would, but let's just see.
And then kind of make a copy of whatever you found in the beginning? Make that-
No, what I would do, I'll do it differently. So all I'm going to do is file, save. So
Okay.
I'm going to save this guy. Whoops. Yeah, I'm going to save him as a TIFF because that's how I save all my images. So you can
You
get,
give it a name? I didn't see that step.
I just call it's this Michael Cacti.
Oh, okay. Uh,
And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to do file, open. And I'm going to get the JPEG.
All right, that's the one I sent you.
Yeah, and then I'm going to move it into this, and it'll do it as a layer. So I use the move tool, and I'm going to click on that JPEG, and I'm going to move it right on top of that, and it duplicated. So now I can close this, and now I'll put this down here. Oops. Oh, I have to say okay to that. Okay. So let me merge these together. That one we didn't use. I'm going to merge the background and that darker area together. And now we can click between them. That's the original. That's the final.
Go back and get layer 3 is the original.
Yeah.
You're not moving your hand. I don't see how you're moving to select from one layer to the next.
Oh, I'm just turning the top layer off.
Oh, eyeball. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, that's a good.
That's a big change. Yeah, that's a big change.
And the one that that you're showing now was one of those intermediate steps because that barrel cactus in the right is gone.
No, it's there. It's just the frame. So let me show you because we cropped it.
Oh, yeah.
So I can make my canvas size bigger. So if I make this,
All right. Yeah.
so now when I,
Yeah. There it is. Boy, what an improvement that was. Wow. Wow. I love that.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Well, boy, what a help you are. This is just great. I-
Well, I'll post the recording.
Okay.
You got the last one that I did?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I'll post it when we're done here. Well, it takes about an hour and a half.
To do what?
What it does is the whole time we're doing this, it records. And then it has to process it into a final file. And our buddies at Zoom do that. And that takes about 15 or 20 minutes. And then I have to convert it to a file that YouTube can take. And that takes a couple of hours.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Oh,
Now, I don't have to be here babysitting anything.
oh,
It,
good.
it does it, but the computer has to run and it has to do the simulation for that long a period of time.
Can you do that while you're sleeping? Or do you have?
I will do that while I'm
I
sleeping.
was gonna say, it's not gonna interfere with your everyday life, is it?
No, I'll still get my beauty sleep, Michael.
Jeez. Wow. Well, thank you for doing all of that. This is really great. I don't know, the other guys didn't see this, huh? They didn't show up tonight.
I'll send him the recording, but Alan is still, I believe he's still traveling. Rick had a meeting, and then I think Linkwell Lee just isn't getting my emails.
And where is Alan traveling? He's been traveling a long time. Is he going on an extended trip somewhere?
Yeah, let me get out of here. I'm gonna stop sharing, and then let me look. He told me in an email where it's gonna be. I think he said. Seems like it's someplace exotic as usual. Let's see, he is. I'll search for his email.
Are you still recording this or are you stopping the recording?
Oh, that's right. I should stop the recording.